Hey, Ronnie, how are you, sir?
Hey, what's happening, man?
Hey, good to talk to you. Excited to do our first video here with Decoded, your AI Minute.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we got it going. We got the platform. We're rolling. So let's do this thing. I know we've been talking a lot leading up to this and really digging into how fast AI is moving. This is kind of our way to chat with each other, see what we've been seeing out there, whether that's online articles we read, what people are posting, and trying to keep up with the latest trends. So, what are you trying to get out of it?
No, I think that's good because, it seems like by this time with all of these announcements that we've been hearing week after week, sometimes day after day, it's like, why are we there yet?
Yeah.
Right? Why are we not at that point where everybody's using AI all the time and maybe half of us don't have jobs anymore? That's what it seems like all these promises have been kind of alluding to. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think
and
it'd be good to take some time and just pump the brakes for everybody and let them know what you and I've been hearing.
Yeah, and just keep it real, right? That's the interesting thing because thinking back years, AI isn't necessarily something new, but that's what I've been hearing for a decade is we're all going to be out of jobs. The robots are going to take over everything. While I think the technology is moving very quickly, people aren't as quick to adapt, right? So how do we harness this and actually make it useful into day-to-day life and day-to-day business for that matter?
Right. I mean, because, like yourself in 15 years, and just selling and into these types of businesses, large business, everything from Fortune 50 down to solopreneur, and week after week after week, I'm having these conversations, with CEOs and CFOs and, these leaders of customer experience. They have a lot of fears, about jumping 2 feet in. So it'd be nice to be able to have a space where everybody can just, I think, hear some of those fears to know that they're not alone and, maybe talk about baby steps,
Yeah.
maybe how to get into it, maybe not to get into it. It's something that seems a little too fad like.
So yeah, I'm hearing the same things in conversations I'm having. So you talk to C levels. There's one initiative where AI is the future. We need to get into it now, or we're going to be behind. The other is talking with CIOs or director level people who are actually working with technology every day. And this is our initiative coming down from the C level. How do we do this safely? How do we keep the right guardrails in place? Where does security come into play? And in practice, actually implementing something versus the concept of we have to do AI is very different, right?
Well, how about I guess for this first floor, we just tackle one of those and then in a few days we can grab another one. So you mentioned security.
Yeah.
Was that on one of the folks you're talking to right now? What's been their main concern as far as
Yeah.
security?
So with security, I think it's not too different from network security in terms
Okay.
of the concept, right? If you're thinking of a AI agent or an AI bot that you're bringing in to automate some kind of workflow, whether that's having chat conversations with one of your customers or I've run into a lot of help desk scenarios lately where they want to leverage AI as part of their ticketing platform. But how do we do that without opening up other security threats? And I think it's similar to any other type of guardrails that you have to have in place, right? What does the AI have access to?
That's the big
Uh,
one.
for that matter, if you're hiring a new employee, what do they have access to, right? You want to make sure that anything making a decision, whether that's a bot or a human, is within their authority to do so, right? And I know just reading up on, recent security concerns of what governments can control, what type of information, it's not really different from operating a business where what do you want your employees to have control of? And for that reason, there's usually some kind of protocol in place. I have been dealing with, I actually posted on LinkedIn a travel nightmare I had with an airline. And going through that kind of customer experience of what are you going to do to make it right, you quickly realize you're dealing with someone in a call center or someone who maybe doesn't have the authority to make that decision,
Right.
which from the business perspective can be a good thing. From my perspective, I want them to make it all right and give me a free
Yeah,
flight,
have some power.
give me e-credits, whatever it might be.
Right.
But the end result after going back and forth for weeks was 2,000 bonus miles, which equates to like $20, something
Right.
along those
Yes.
lines. So from the airline's perspective, it's good that they can't just, throw me $1,000 worth of credits. And I think that's kind of the viewpoint of what you want to put guardrails in place for a AI bot or, an AI agent to be limited to.
Now, in that scenario, though, would you have been okay with, some level of automation and, the bot with some real or fake empathy, then offering you kind of upfront those same 2,000 miles? Would that have made it a decent experience?
It would have been a better starting point for sure,
There you go. There you
because
go.
that would have saved me weeks of back and forth waiting for an email to come back. And yeah, if you can automate that piece, make it a good experience for me. Part of it's the frustration of time that goes by.
Right.
So
Right.
that it's a good point that yeah, there are tools available and in place that can definitely shorten that cycle of consumer outrage or people needing real help in certain more urgent situations.
Yeah, and I think that's some of the things that I've been hearing, reading about, and thinking to a conversation I'm having recently with a bank. There's no silver bullet there.
Yeah.
There's not this magic tool someone's already created or that will create that will have that ability out of the box, right? To only access, this or that, as being a part of your tech stack. Really, it comes down to boiling down, like in this situation, what minimal thing can we do before we get a person involved?
Yeah. And
In your case, maybe at 2,000 or 20,000, bonus miles, it's like, all right, since this only costs me 10 minutes out of my day to complain, I'm actually good with that.
yeah, and I'll move on with my life. Yeah.
But move on instead of weeks, and weeks. And now they're like, you know what? I think it's time for me to sign up for that Delta credit card so I never fly the other guy again. Yeah.
Right. And really, yeah, that's the key is you have to walk before you run. So what
Right.
can we do to make a better customer experience or a better employee experience if you're leveraging AI internally without the risk of going all in and not knowing what kind of rabbit hole you're going down? And yeah, that's really not being an expert on coding or being able to develop my own AI. That's what I'm hoping to learn from these conversations with you, and hopefully our extended network will have some insight into it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to interviewing some people smarter than us,
Yes,
and
let's bring
having
them
some of
on.
those conversations around, what's the solve for that? Because obviously there is one, right? I think most of us have had pretty trash experiences from a customer standpoint of interacting with a lot of these systems, but there have been some good ones too. So,
Yeah,
having that
there's
understanding out there.
I've definitely been on both sides where I'm talking with the chat bot and I say I wish this was just a real person, or being stuck in a phone call IVR, something like that where you're stuck in that loop. And the flip side of I wish I could just do this with a chat bot and be done with
Yeah,
it. So it's all about finding that balance, right?
there is. Right. Now, I think there's certain tasks, that's one of the things that I mentioned to a retailer recently was, hey, in 2025 today, there's some things you want your people doing. Conversely, there's also some things you definitely don't want them doing, right?
Yeah.
Scheduling an appointment or your human capital should not be doing that. That needs to
Yep.
be a website, a chat bot, definitely something automated. Canceling an appointment, rescheduling an appointment, all of these things that can be API driven, it's smoothly done without a person, should be. And to your
Yeah.
point, going back to the airline, handing out 50,000 bonus miles? No, no automated version there. That should be, more of you having a conversation with a human.
Yeah. And that's
50,000
really in
shouldn't
terms.
be, that shouldn't be six people across couple of weeks.
Yeah, agreed. And in terms of AI taking our jobs, the way I think we could look at it is AI freeing up our time so that skilled people can actually spend time doing what they're really needed for, which might be that level 2, level 3 of support where you really need that human interaction to it.
I mean, I know I've leveraged that personally, for myself, both for my 9 to 5 and also for my side hustle business that I run
Yeah,
as well. Much of that little stuff that can be automated.
for sure.
Text message reminders, appointment scheduling, definitely as it relates to your calendar. You know, I think we're all well past the days where you're having 12 emails trying to pick out a time and date to speak or to talk with somebody. So there's so many straightforward use cases. Hey, what's your policy on this? It's straightforward. It can be automated well, I mean, by all means, it should be.
Agreed. Work smarter, right?
Right. Yeah. If we're being honest, we both sell technologies in this space. And when I think about what my day to day looks like, a year from now, I would expect that I have at least 1 to 2 agents that help me with my day to day.
Yeah.
And I think that's a realistic expectation. I think with that, it'll be a scenario where maybe even my company expects a little more of me since I have essentially help, to get
Yeah.
the job done. At a
That,
minimum, I'm going to have more time in my day. So,
that's the reality is, I
yes,
mean, ideally we can do in 20 hours what we do in 40 now, but that means you have 20 hours to be more productive in other
right.
ways. And that's really the key.
I see it
Maybe a
happen.
mix of the two, right?
I see it happen. Yeah, I don't have that yet. Because again,
Yeah.
being knee deep in that industry and, kind of having a pulse as it relates to agentic AI, at least what it looks like today. I don't see me being replaced, but I definitely see me having some of these agents that I'm either directly in charge of or that I'm being able to assign certain tasks.
Yep.
Well, I think that's awesome. And I think that's one of those pieces that people are missing. It's like, no, I don't necessarily need you to go away, but I need you to focus on some more difficult things and let agent 4579 handle.
Yeah, same. I mean, that's one of my goals for the year is definitely to learn from the community and implement more AI tools for my own productivity, time management, etc. And I think, looking back at the end of the year, things will be a lot different and hopefully as a result of it. So, yeah, that's what I'm hoping to get out of these talks, and let's bring on some experts and learn together.
All right, man.
All right. Well, thanks, Ronnie.
Of course. Look forward to next week.
All right. Likewise. Take care.
I'm good.
Bye.